window in the sky at 17,500 miles an hour, precisely within 1 or 2 miles an hour, and just a little area out there it has to go through at just the right pitch and attitude in order to go into the proper orbit. Back at Mission Control, they've got about 20 seconds to decide whether it's in exactly the right pattern for a successful orbit and to give them the go for the mission. If not, they order them to return and they abort the mission. They can do that instantly by the normal separation procedure and re-entry that they would use at the end of the flight at any rate. And in that case, they probably come down around the Canary Islands and there's a recovery force out there waiting for them. Or, of course, if after they get into orbit during that first orbit, if everything isn't functioning properly in the spacecraft, they can bring them down in the Atlantic off Bermuda, which is very roughly the area they'll land in. When they complete the mission successfully, they would land about 500 miles east of Cape Kennedy, from which they took off under those circumstances. It's T-minus 5 hours, and 5 minutes and 30 seconds. After that pitch maneuver, the next critical point in the takeoff is maximum dynamic pressure, max Q it's called, 1 minute and 19 seconds after takeoff. That is when the ship goes through the sound barrier when it exceeds a speed of around 600 or 700 miles an hour, and it takes the maximum buffeting at that point. It's about 40,000 feet high at that time, and 7 2/3 miles from the peak. Our Boston University scope camera down there, we expect that we'll be able to see the ship actually go through that point. Start the final status check in the countdown. They're actually in that check at this moment, and they are about to complete it, I should have said. The telemetry recorders have been turned on in the spacecraft. This little 7-foot-high cubicle, which is really nothing more than a couple of crowded telephone booths for these men.
This is Gemini Launch Control, now T-minus 4 minutes and 15 seconds and counting. Astronauts Cooper and Conrad still reporting the status of their spacecraft as go. We continue our checks in the blockhouse. We have now tied in the launch vehicle, the spacecraft, the control center in Houston, and the Air Force Eastern Test Range. All is go at the present time, now coming up on 3 minutes and 50 seconds and counting. This is Gemini Launch Control.
Getting into the final minutes before this launch. Astronauts in perfect condition, cheery, as you saw a moment ago. Big smiles as they were seen both leaving their sleeping quarters over on Merritt Island, and as they got suited up and as they actually got into the spacecraft.
3 minutes and 22 seconds and counting. They're checking with a computer update. This is the spacecraft computer to ensure that it is synchronized for the launch.
We've got just 3 minutes and 2 seconds to go.
T-minus 3 minutes and counting. T-minus 3.
The voice you hear coming in is Jack King, the voice of launch control at Cape Kennedy. Immediately after launch, the spokesman will be Paul Haney from the Mission Control Center at Houston, Texas. Houston actually controls this mission.
Launch control, now T-minus 2 minutes, 24 seconds and counting. We have just received a go from the range. The range is cleared to launch.
Clearance has come from the range for launch.
This is Gemini Launch Control, T-minus 2 minutes and counting. We have confirmation that our computer has been updated in the spacecraft. All systems still go on the Gemini 5 countdown.
I have to get out of here. 1 minute, 45 seconds to launch.
final seconds of the countdown. The Titan II launch vehicle will ignite. The two engines in the first stage booster will ignite as we reach zero in the countdown. 3 seconds later, after numerous parameters have been checked, the launch vehicle will be released. We will have liftoff some 3 seconds after ignition. Now 1 minute and counting. T-minus 50 seconds and counting. T-minus 35 seconds. T-minus 25 seconds. We're now primarily on an automatic sequence in the blockhouse, monitoring the final functions as they occur. T-minus 15. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Ignition. Liftoff. We're off on the hour.
Looks good. Straight as an arrow.
Clock started and the roll program is initiated. Gordon Cooper reports.
They should be pitching now. They're 24,000 feet. 2,400
Roll
feet.
program is complete. Pitch program has been initiated.
So far, a perfect departure for 8 days in the
Looks
space.
very nice. 42 seconds. Coming up on 50 seconds. Mark 50 seconds. Our velocity at this time is about 1,350 miles an hour. G-force is 2.
Coming up at max Q, maximum dynamic pressure, as they pierce the sound barrier at about 40,000 feet.
1 minute, 20 seconds.
Should be getting the report from Paul Haney.